Buckle up, everyone, and welcome to Carpool Rugby League, a show where two rugby league tragics talk everything rugby league on your way to and from work. I am Shano.
And I am the Chameleon.
Welcome aboard and on with the show. Chameleon, Griffo, great to have you on board as always. Listeners, thank you once again for being a part of this show. Let's just go through, I suppose, we'll kick off and go through some results. We've got lots to talk about in this this week. We've got Origin team named. That has caused a few rumblings in and around the traps. We'll talk about that. We'll of course preview games. Griffo's grab. We will also we'll also tell you about the women's rugby league coming up. We'll just quickly go through that. That's harder to pick than a broken nose first round. So we're probably, whilst we will give it some airplay, I think we've got to wait till we see some games before we know what's going on fully there. But last Thursday, 25th of June, Parramatta Eels went down to the South Sydney Rabbitohs 32-12. The Dogs beat the Titans 30 points to 12. Roosters too strong, 24-18 over the Broncos. That's I think many people are now putting that line through the Broncos. The other Brisbane team, though, the Dolphins 26 over the Warriors 24. Cowboys 26, Panthers 12. Sea Eagles 30 beat the Melbourne Storm 4. Raiders 24, Dragons 16. Dragons doing some good things in that game. Didn't get the chockies though. And what was one of the tightest games you've seen for a little while. West Tigers went down to the Knights. They're at home 12.26. The ladder looks a bit like this. The Panthers out in front, 12 wins on 28 points. Warriors on 24. The Dolphins are in third on 24 points, 10 wins. Also on 10 wins is the Roosters and the Knights. On 22 points with 9 wins, we see the Seagulls. South Sydney on 22 with 8 wins. Sharks in 8th on 22 with 8 wins. 9 wins, so this is a bit with the buys. The Cowboys are 9th on 20 points, but they have 9 wins, so they've got more wins than a couple of those above them. The Doggies 18 on 7 wins. West Tigers 7 wins, 18. Storm 16 and 7 wins. The Broncos 14 and 5 wins. 10 losses minus 114. I think they're gone. The Raiders, they have 6 wins. They're in 14th place on 14. The Eels on 14 and 5 wins. Titans, they're on 12 points in 16th place with 4 wins, and the Dragons rounding it out, they are on 6 points with 1 win. Griffo, it would be remiss of me not to ask, what was your grab for the week?
Yeah, last week, a lot of the games I only saw minis of. And in a number of those cases, I didn't know the score beforehand. But it might have been the last game of the round. Knights v Tigers. Looked like a pretty close tussle until the grab unfolded before my eyes, where Bradman Best received the ball behind his try line. I can't remember if it was off a kick. I think it was. He passed to Dom Young, who was probably 3 or 4 meters behind his own try line. Young beat about 3 near the try line, sprinted away. Best followed him. Dom Young threw a pass about 3 meters forward, and Best scored under the posts, which was the winning try for the Knights. Great play from Dom Young and Bradman Best, but it didn't grab the eye of the touchies or the ref, because that was just it's unfortunate for the Tigers that the biggest play of the round, in my eyes, was an offside pass. Yep. But just didn't get picked up. And what also didn't get picked up was any points for the Tigers as a result of that pass. But they had their chances.
They did. It was interesting. I thought that it's one of those things where it was like you sort of like got to the point where at what point do you start thinking that the Tigers threw that game away and yeah, there were some fans who usually have Tiger or Magpies that sort of said you can't blame anyone but ourselves for that loss. I'm just going to go through the games in the women's round quickly. It's very hard to predict teams and go through lists and whatnot with game one. I always think that we've always tried to do it and give it the airplay it deserves, but it's just with the different computations and the way things are. I think we're just going to go through the games and then take it from there. And as the sort of the season for the women unfolds, we talk a bit more to it. Because every year we try and predict things and it's abysmal. So tonight, we're doing this on Thursday, by the way, good people. Sharks play the Knights at Ocean Protect Stadium. Tomorrow sees the Titans versus the Roosters. Dragons v Raiders. Broncos versus Cowboys. Eels, Tigers, Warriors, Bulldogs on Sunday. So that's on Saturday. So that's tonight. There's no game tomorrow. So tonight there's a game. Then Saturday sees the Titans, Roosters looking strong. Saturday at 3:15 sees the Dragons versus the Raiders. Saturday at 5:15 sees the Broncos versus Cowboys. Game Broncos looking good. Sunday sees the Eels versus the West Tigers. That's at 11:50 a.m. I always talk the Eels up as my dark horse, and they always seem to fail. But this on Sunday, 1:45 the Warriors versus the Bulldogs. So I think we watched this space with the women's game, not giving it any less or more kudos than what it deserves. It's just that we've tried over the years to look at things, and really you need a round or two to see how the team sort of blends and unfolds, especially those teams with some of those players that aren't the household names but are still very good players in their own right. So I felt in previous years by trying to go through and analyse it, we've probably done it more of an injustice than anything. So let's just let the games unfold for this week and next week, and then we'll start talking to it as we watch a little bit more football. Speaking,
Shane, just before we go on,
sure.
And look, I'm just looking at right now. I've not looked at who was playing who or anything with the ladies, but there's a name there that I thought was not going to be a name there anymore, and that is Ali Brigginshaw.
Yes.
I thought she'd hung up the boots.
I saw her name, and I've done a quick 5'8". I've done a quick I've done this quick. Ali Brigginshaw, didn't she retire?
That's what I thought.
Thanks, AI. You've come up with nothing, so you can get the average uni student.
I don't think AI cares too much about the women's sport.
I don't know if AI, get the average uni student through, but you can't help me out with this one. I was the same. And that's why you know what?
That's what I thought.
I think with the women's game. And look, she could be playing, and she may not be retiring. I don't know. Yeah, but I just don't.
That's why Southwell went up there.
You know what? To be honest, and this is no disrespect to the women's game. It's more the administration of the NRL. Over the years, we've looked at the first round and second round, and the administration of the game. Like you don't know if she's been named and it's like, oh no, yeah, sorry, that was a mistake, or whether she'll play. You just don't know, and I think that's where it's at the moment administratively. I for all intents and purposes, I didn't think she was playing. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I with you.
No, I think she's playing.
She's named. If you're named, then you're there, aren't you? But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I did see that.
Anyway.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm
There we are.
I'm going to wait and see 2 weeks before I even remotely talk about it, because I really don't feel I've done any justice in the past by trying to look at past form and guesswork and I think Origin told us a bit about that. 8:05 on Wednesday.
I'm just going to make a bold prediction on the women's comp.
Yeah.
Broncos and Roosters
Yeah.
grand final.
Yeah, they've got to do something seriously. They've got to start looking at first tier, second tier, third tier players, because it's just ridiculous. That's
The only team I think could get even close is probably the Titans.
It's not good football, is it? It's well, okay. It will be good football because they're skilled. It's not good viewing. Anyway,
well, we'll see. But yeah.
Titans, the other thing I want to see in the women's game, not only tiered player system, I want to see a reward for keeping players. I felt that the Newcastle Knights, last couple of, we've seen it before where they've built a side that you go, geez, in actual fact, it's a really solid team. They've good structure. And just every year it feels like, oh yeah, we got this young kid who's playing in the Hunter region. She's a really good footballer. We'll bring her into our system. We'll nurture her. And okay, congratulations, Roosters. You now have a new player. Like it's or yeah. I just feel like it's the Broncos and Roosters just seem to be able to, just. It reminds me of that person that plays that claw machine and always wins. They're just pulling the player out whenever they want. Anyway, yeah.
The other thing, the return of Taryn Aiken, it's good to see her back listed as halfback for the Roosters. That might be a game I tune into. That Titans Roosters game. They've got one of the Levi sisters from the rugby unions come to play with the Titans. She's 5'8" outside.
I think there's a few. I was reading an article. There's a few union converts across the teams. It'll be very interesting to see how they. I'm sure they'll go well, but what I'm actually trying to say is yet another avenue. Like we're looking at rugby league, and I think Mark Nawanta-Nikawase has proven that there's some skill over at the dark side, and it's you're better off looking at it than for it. And I suppose there's been players in our game in the past that have proven that that's another breeding ground and another way through the system. State of Origin. Let's talk team. What's that?
Is that coming up soon?
What's that?
It's coming up soon, is it?
Apparently so. Yes. Apparently it's at the 8th.
Who's playing?
New South Wales, West Queensland.
Okay.
Yeah. They pick teams and everything for it. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen?
Laurie Daly's still the coach?
Apparently so.
Oh, good on
him. And if you listen to Phil Gould, we're not allowed to talk smack about him.
Oh, look.
Phil Gould was very upset, and he goes, and you know what I want to say to Phil Gould? No one ever said that Laurie Daly was a horrible player. He was actually a brilliant player. Yep. It's just some coaching. There's just some coaching decisions that's the issue. Like I'm not, when he got on his high horse there the other day and banged on about him as a player, it's like we're not talking about him as a player, Pillick. We're talking about the coaching anyway. That's going to take place after this round on the Wednesday. So I don't really care what Brisbane have done. They've got a couple of outs and Horsburgh, Nanai and Carrigan in. For New South Wales, Api Coruscant out. I'm really upset because I really didn't want this guy to be there tomorrow night. Brian Toto out. Dylan Lucas out, which is just so interesting because you know what? Wasn't he going to be the defensive unit that you wanted him to be? And Katoni Staggs out in Brayley, Best, Olakawatu. I'm glad that Liam Martin got chosen though, and Stephen Crichton. So let's just go through the Blues team, and we'll have our thoughts. In at fullback is James Tedesco. On the wings, you see Jack Bostock and Mark Nowinter Nico Arce. In the centres, we have Bradman Best and Stephen Crichton. At 5'8", Mitchell Moses, and at half-back, we have Nathan Cleary. The bookends are Payne Haas and Mitch Barnett. Reece Robson is the hooker for the evening. Hudson Young and Liam Martin are the second rowers, with Isaiah Yeo locking the scrum. On the interchange bench, we see Cameron Murray, Fanua Blake, Ola Kawatu, Blake Brayley, Ethan Strange, and Total Kola. Victor Radley is on. That's the first time I've seen that. Oh, that's the first time I've seen that. I just got to get a minute. I just got to take a minute. Okay. Oh, that's the New South Wales Blues. Griffo? Any thoughts? Anything?
Just trying to find the team list. I know who's playing, but I just would like to have a list in front of me.
Yeah.
Look, I probably don't disagree with too many selections.
Yep.
I think last week we talked about who we thought, and it didn't really surprise me that Brian Toto was left out.
No.
Because he didn't have, again, he had some problems under the high ball against the Cowboys where he just got leapt over. And I don't know why this wasn't a thing for, a number of years. Other teams have tried it, but not overly successful. But in the last few weeks, it's been a bit of an issue.
Can I give you my analysis
absolutely.
on that? This is my feeling on it. Penrith, and I don't want this to sound like it's a negative. It's actually a big positive. Penrith are so good, and Penrith centres and second rows are so good at protecting him that the speed of which the opposition comes through. Look, Brian Toto is brilliant catching the ball. Once you get above him, you've gotten, you're there. I think what the issue with Toto has been recently is that coverage that he's so used to hasn't been there to the effectiveness that it has been in the past. I don't know if that's personnel change. I don't know if that's the new rule change and the way Penrith play. I just think it just feels like the oppositions get to him quicker. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's improved their kicking game when they play Penrith. I think what that means is that the space in the field that the opposition has to run around isn't there. Because Penrith are like when someone puts a bomb up, Penrith are like the terracotta statues. They don't move, but they're so in the way, and I think the coverage is less. I actually looked at a few things and I like flicking around and whatnot, and I think it's the coverage. I don't think he's gotten poorer at it or worse at it. I just think the opposition are getting to him quicker than what he's used to in the past. I don't know if that's a rule change thing, because this is a this year problem. This hasn't been the last 5-6 year problem. That's my thoughts from what I've seen of Penrith and Rugby League. But I think that's across the board, Griff. I really think wingers have been pressured more this year than I've seen in the past.
Well, it's one of the easier ways to score a try if you've got a good leaper out on the wing.
Yeah.
It's an important part of the game. Obviously, one of the best at it has been out all year in Xavier Coates, and it's been one of the big reasons the Storm haven't been as good because they haven't been able to get that relatively easy try, I should say, with Colts just going up and coming down, putting the ball down.
Yeah, plucking the ball.
And Queensland, well, they haven't really missed him, but he's pretty good at it. It's Fafita and Jojo Fafita and these guys have been getting the job done in that sense. They got Cobbo there, who's just a big tall guy as well. So, look, Bradman Best, I think, was the right selection, given that Latrell was out. He would have been left center. Katoni had a pretty poor second match.
Yeah.
I would have been surprised if he did keep his spot. Tedesco at fullback. Yeah, okay, but I would have preferred Dylan Edwards, and I wouldn't have minded if Scott Drinkwater had been there either.
You know what? My mum, who watches pretty much everything rugby league, and the House of the Dragon at the moment second.
It's back on, is it?
No, she actually she was it was meant to be, and it didn't come on, and she actually rang Foxtel and said, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I thought it was coming on.
No, she rang Foxtel. She said, "You said it would be back on. It's not on." So she's watching reruns until it's on.
Fair enough. Catch up and just remind yourself. Yeah.
She actually picked Drinkwater. She actually said if you look at it, if you look at all the games and look at, she thought he's the one who's actually been playing, and not taking away from anything from.
I think he's the biggest attacking threat.
I think he's the biggest. I agree. I think we talk about the defense of a fullback and saving tries. A fullback should score, 3-4 times more tries than they save. And I just think he just does it a bit more. He ups that ratio.
Yeah, it's his try assists as well.
Yeah. Yes. Good.
Yeah.
Good
anyway,
ball
look, he's not
movement.
there. I would get behind the Blues,
100% we do.
A few things that I,
100%
probably not done. I agree with Crichton back. He started to show a bit of form, even though he's playing 5'8". But what it does provide is a right side defence of Cleary, Liam Martin, Cleary, Crichton.
Yeah.
And they have combination.
Yeah, it's not as if they've never played before.
No, but it looked as though the right-hand side had never played before. When it was Cleary, Katoni and Dylan Lucas, there was no connection at all.
Jack Bostock. Just want to touch on Jack Bostock.
Good selection.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. Not on his preferred side, but I think he'll be fine.
Well, we've got two towering wingers now.
Yes.
So.
And finishes. Yeah. Two towering wingers. So the high ball's there, but no slouch when it comes to getting the ball and doing something with it either.
Yeah. Bostock played under 19s a few years ago. Might have been in the same side as Ethan Strange actually, but he looked good then. He moved from Wollongong up to Redcliffe and has made a name for himself in the NRL. Come back from an ACL, and he's moved into the centres for the Dolphins. Never looked back. He's been very, very good.
No.
So it's a very different looking back line. Obviously, Brian Toto, I think he's the greatest winger for New South Wales ever. But I'm not upset that he's been changed. It's just he's not in form at the moment. And yeah, as long as we win, I don't care.
Okay, that's true. I suppose a lot of noise around. They've kept Mitchell Moses and Cleary. Yeah. I think that's smart. I think that's smart. I wouldn't. change the half 5-8 combination this late into the system.
The Moses really come out and supported Laurie, so good on him for doing it, by the way. Yeah. So Laurie's, giving him a spot in the side. There might have, in Laurie's mind, never been in doubt. Obviously, Strange was arguably the man of the match. If he wasn't man of the match, he was second to Nathan Cleary, who deservedly got man of the match. But for mine, it was either way. Could have gone either way. Then we saw sort of some strange bench play from Laurie in the second game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Strange, there's a cloud over him now. He's done an ankle, twisted an ankle or something at training.
He has, yes.
I think today. So
I
not seeing at all.
I think that if he's in any kind of doubt,
Well, I think you probably bring in Matt Burton, the like for like.
You know what? Can I just say, I was actually going to bring this up with the interchange, but I'll do it now. I look at Strange, and look, I'm with you. But there's certain players I think you either pick them in position or you don't pick them at all. I look at Ethan Strange and I go, he's a great player. And I thought in game one he was brilliant. He's either got to be 5'8" or not at all. Because I actually think when I look at someone like Matt Burton in that position, you can draw on him. Like this guy Matt Burton has an immense skill set. Now I'm not taking anything away from Ethan Strange. I think if I was picking a team and needed a 5'8", Ethan Strange is my 5'8" over Matt Burton. But Matt Burton just has this extended series of skills that can sort of come into that. Like Stephen Crichton goes down, you can bring him on. You would argue that if you needed to inject someone to do something slightly different, and you can put him in the second row. Like I just think, I was just looking at this team and thought, when I look at the position of Ethan Strange, for me that should have been Matt Burton. That's just me. I just think that versatility, if you're going to pick someone for versatility, he's probably the most versatile back in the competition. I don't know if there's many better than what he does. He can kick, he can get goals, he's got the boot on him is immense. He can play in the centres, he can play 5'8" if he had to. He could probably play second row on lock if he had to. You know what I mean? Like, not that you've got a plethora of locks out there, but you know what I mean. Like, you got that. Yeah.
So I argue that Ethan Strange could do all that as well.
Yep.
Apart from the kick, like Matt Burton, obviously massive kicking game. Strange really doesn't have a kicking game,
and that's where I think if Moses or Cleary went down, all of a sudden your attack becomes exceptionally linear. Because if I'm Queensland, I know Ethan Strange isn't going to take hold of the kicking game.
Yeah.
But that's
that's interesting to see whether he they're not going to stuff around with it. Like you'd think if they realise, okay, there's a chance he's not playing, you just flying, because I think they're based up the North Coast this time.
Yeah,
just flying Matt Burton.
Yeah.
Up there. He came in and played in game one after the injury to Moses. So, he knows what it's about.
100%. Cameron Murray, Fanua Blake, Olaquatu, Blake Brayley, Ethan Strange, Toto Kola. Is there anyone there that you want to see starting?
You've said it since day dot, Cameron Murray.
That's why I ask. It's just Yeah, I think that it's.
I haven't changed my opinion.
No, I think the elephant in the room is that that guy has to run out in the field. Yeah. And look, I'm more comfortable. Can I say I'm more comfortable with Liam Martin there? I'm more comfortable, but I just think that if Mitch Barnett went to the bench, because I think bookends are at a premium in his side. Put Isaiah Yeo up there and put Cameron Murray in at lock. I just think our starting lineup that in Origin, and I mean, you know me, Griff. I get into the pageantry of it. You know what I'm like. I look at it and go, okay,
get excited, but
what's the most scariest thing we could? What's the most scariest team? And there's a part of me that says if it was Payne Haas, Robson, Yeo, Hudson Young, Martin, Murray, I'm Queensland going, fuck, that's a good team. All of a sudden I'm like, if we make one minuscule mistake, we are done. Like you got a guy like Yo up there, who's fuck. If I had $1 for every time we wrapped Yo on this podcast since it started, I wouldn't have to work. No, we've loved him since day one.
Well, you were a massive fan.
Graham and I called it. I remember when he started. Graham and I said this guy's going to be a future captain of New South Wales and Australia. We just knew it. The other guy we had massive raps on was Cameron Murray, Liam Martin. I just feel like there's, and no disrespect to Mitch Barnett, he's playing some great football on a great team, but far out. All of a sudden, you bring a player off, anyone up there, or you bring Haas off, put Mitch Barnett on. You're Queensland going, oh man, really? Like, come on, this sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think you bring, if Payne Haas or Mitch Barnett come on, who's going on that's just that big, large human being that, Olakawatu.
Fanua Blake.
Yeah. Fanua Blake is one player though. That's my thing. I just think in Origin, if you could do that rotation, yeah.
Look, for mine, I wouldn't have had Mitch Barnett last game, but I will say that he did actually play quite well. But we couldn't go forward.
No.
And there was one stage there where we didn't have any of our big boppers on.
Yes, it was.
I mean, Fanua Blake played 9 minutes. Look, as it stands,
more locks than a jail out at one stage.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd even be happy enough if Isaiah Yeo come off the bench, but I would have. You could have just thrown in Fanua Blake at the start and Payne Haas and see how you go. Like, imagine those two to go forward. Like, that'd be whatever glue goes out there.
Oh, we love it. We love it.
But and there's so much talk about the selections. Hudson Young, obviously Liam Martin. I want to see him play for 30 minutes, absolutely full throttle, and then bring Hamoli on.
Yeah.
I think that's what we'll see. Liam Martin hasn't been in tip-top form since his return from injury. Scored a really good try against the Titans, but he hasn't got 80 minutes in him. And most second rows now, you sort of look at them as 80-minute players, but he's not going to play 80. And I don't want him to. I don't want Hamoli sitting on the bench.
No way.
Long. Like, Martin, go out there, fire up.
I think Martin's
and then bring on Hamoli.
I think Martin's mongrel factor.
Well, absolutely, and that's what we want in the opening exchanges. But really take some toll out of the Queenslanders, and then a fresh Hamoli who is absolutely tearing teams apart when he plays for Manly. Just get him out there, give him the ball, and just wreak some havoc.
Yeah.
Like, it's not rocket science.
No.
The guy is a giant who runs fast and scores tries.
Should have been there last game.
Of course he should have been there. But I mean, we can't cry over the spilt milk.
No.
That we lost that game. We got pumped. Bring him on fresh, but don't leave it till the second half when the game might be bloody over. Like, get him out there, and we want to be in front at halftime. We were last time. We just had no go forward in the second half. But
Oh, look, you know what I want? This is what I want, Griff. I want us to be 18 points. I don't care what Queensland are on, because I think if we get to 18 at halftime, we're in a good position. I want 18 points of 3 well-constructed tries that weren't off drop balls, that weren't that we you know what I mean? Like, that was a problem last time. I think if we can prove to ourselves that we can. Oh, look, mate, you know, we far out. How many car trips have we had down to watch them play, and how many hours at the water cooler? We want this team to win, and it's funny. We follow our club teams and we follow this. It hurts when they lose, and like I just look at this and like Graham and I and you too, Griffo. This podcast is therapy. A lot of the time, all right? It's therapy a lot of the time, and that's the thing. We just don't want it to hurt again. So, I look, anyone who's privileged enough to wear the blue gets our vote. And on Wednesday we're going to see a game. I'm thinking it's going to be an absolutely cracking match. It's just built. It's built for it.
Well, I like the fact that Queensland are favourites. They're never the favourites. Well, they should be favourites. Like,
they'll say they're not. They'll say they're not.
No, I don't think anyone, including themselves, believe that. But we were pumped in game 2. We won game 1 because the player got sent off, because we were getting pumped. And the Queenslanders have just tore us to shreds. But I do think our defence will be better with some of the combinations. But our attack's got to improve. And we've got to get the go forward happening. I want to see Brayley out there pretty early. Again, similar to Liam Martin, where Rawson is a noted defender. Give him 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Get Brayley out there, because he was very good when he came on in game 1. Obviously missed game 2 through injury. I just think we've got to offer something out at dummy half. And I think Brayley can do that. Get Fanua Blake running off him, their club mates. I just think we haven't utilised our talent to anywhere near its ability. And that's something that's Laurie Daly's going to know, and it's going to give them confidence, because they've been fairly criticised.
Yep.
There's a little bit over the top maybe, but more of the over the top stuff has been for the coach. These guys are not dud players. It's just they haven't played to their ability in most cases, and certainly collectively we haven't played to our ability. But you give someone a jersey that never played with someone else before, and you expect them to play at their best, and it just sometimes it works, but more often than not, it's not going to work.
No.
Cleary and Tedesco, they don't quite seem to gel, but they've had enough games together to work it out, and they're both champion players. Teddy, just stay out of the middle more often than not.
Yeah, it's
I was hearing some stats about the number of balls he got as first receiver, and just get out of there, Teddy. That might work with the Roosters, but it hasn't quite worked yet. But
the funny thing, you reminded me of something, Griff. I actually wrote this down, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but now you've said that, I have. He rarely does this stuff for the Roosters. He rarely plays that role. He's the inside man. And I just think, for some reason, he gets into this team and wants to do more than what he needs to. I'm with you. I just don't know what. If he started doing the way he played last game, especially, Robinson would tap him on the shoulder and go, "Mate, really? Like, your game is about running. You know, just find the shoulders." And I'm going to say something here, and I don't want to sound disrespectful. I got a gut feeling that his natural game, he couldn't play his natural game because Origin was too quick for him. So because the theatre was too quick for him, he had to adapt. And in adapting, he became this first receiver in the middle of the park, rather than becoming this roving, running, loitering human being. I think that's too quick for him now. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that genuinely. I think that's why he goes, well, how can I contribute to this team? I'll be in the middle. I just want him to do what every good fullback does, and that's play a part out wide as an extra set of hands and throw good balls to your winger, and be there for when your second rower breaks through the line. You should be the guy he's passing it to. That's every team's brief. Nothing changes. And I just feel like if you do that, you know, if you run off Olakwata's shoulder, you will make meters by the bucket load. Don't worry about it. Like, you know, don't overplay your hand. Don't, you know, stay in your lane and do what you need to do. I still think he can do that. I don't know what he feels like he has to do the other, because the other is a game plan for another day, and he never does this kind of stuff for the Roosters.
Anyway, Queensland, not too many changes. The one main change, well, actually a couple on the bench. Carrigan comes back.
Yeah.
And who's been in amazing form. He was just outstanding against Penrith last week. I don't know if he was man of the match, but on what I saw,
in some cracking form.
Yeah, that was a bit of a concern, actually.
Can I put a shout out? I know over the last few weeks we've talked about, you know, people talk about Hammer or Jojo Fafita, Selwyn Cobbo. What the Newcastle system has done to bring back the confidence and the play of Caleb Ponga is phenomenal. Like, you know, he's playing the football we knew he could, but I just think that I'm a really firm believer that a lot of this starts in clubland, and I think Newcastle have done a very good job at getting Caleb Ponga confident, and he's really, you know, you know, like, you look at game changers and you look at game players, and you just go, not Wednesday night. You can have your day in the sun another time. Just don't do it on Wednesday night.
Yeah. We're Thursday, so we're less than a week away now.
Yes.
But we've got some NRL football.
We do. We've got some NRL football well and truly before then this weekend. It's going to be, it's going to be a big week, because there's some big games with some teams on buys and some teams playing who are missing some key personnel, and that starts tomorrow night, Griffo, at CommBank Stadium in Sydney. That's your team versus mine. It's the Penrith Panthers taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Are you heading to the game?
I actually promised the girls we're going to do a pizza night here tonight. So I've got got my niece down from Mackay, who is a Penrith supporter.
Yeah.
I asked if she wanted to go to the game. She was at the game last week. She went up to Townsville and watched them play. I won't
put her off
I won't
again.
say what she said. I won't say what she said, but let's just say she's still got love for the Panthers, but let's just say she'd rather have some pizza at home. So I said, yeah, we can do that. We can most definitely do that. Look, out for the Panthers. Let's talk about outs. Isaiah Yeo, Isaiah Papali'i, Liam Martin, and Nathan Cleary. They're out. Jack Cole. So let's go through the team and Griffo, please chime in with your thoughts. That would mean look, Dylan Edwards is in the team and Brian Toto, of course. Jack Cogger comes in at halfback. You've got Lindsay Smith in at lock. You got Sorensen and Garner. They're your second rowers, and then outside of that, it's pretty much business as usual. Is that correct? Have I missed anything there?
Like I don't know where their points come from.
Yeah.
As I look at this team, like they would, they had an off game last week, drop ball.
Yep.
I had something on last week. I saw most of the first half live on the TV, but I didn't see the second half till later on. I was at a venue and I sort of didn't want to hear the score. I was going to come home and look at it, but someone let me know. And then someone, I thought, okay.
Cheers,
they weren't looking like winners.
Yep.
Cowboys are very, very good. I just the week before, when the Origin players were out against the Titans, they played okay. Actually, dominated every aspect of the game except the scoreboard. Because they struggled to get over the line, even though they had a lot of ball, a lot of territory. And I actually am going to tip. I think South Sydney will win this game, because the Panthers. This is far from their best team. You mentioned the outs, but they're still missing Casey McLean, who's just about their best attacking weapon, certainly out wide. And Kenny's been out for a long time, but and Freddie Lussick's done a decent job. Actually, a good job, not a decent job. But that's not my concern. Is the try scoring, and I just don't know where it's going to come from. Blaise Talongi is a good player. I think the expectation of him is that he should be the guy who can get things happening. And I've still got faith in him long term, but just at the moment, over the last few weeks, he hasn't really been able to do that.
Yep.
I can't see that's going to change this week. Tango out in centres, he's there because of injury, basically.
Yep.
McLean, and they don't really have another option in the centres.
Can I ask you can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Looking at this game, and I was sort of looking, okay, same thing with us, right? Where do we score points? Isaac Tago, defensively, what's he like defensively?
Mixed.
Yeah, okay.
In September and October, he's awesome. But we're in July.
Yeah, okay. June, July, it's not so great.
Yeah, but you had a massive rap on him before he sort of became a regular in first grade.
In New South Wales Cup, he was one of the hardest. He would lock up the edge. He'd be there before the second row and winger, and he'd lock the edge up, and it's like, wow, this kid. You throw this kid a first grade jersey now, he's got it, and it's just like, Yeah, it was. I don't. You know what? But sometimes, and I watch a lot of New South Wales Cup. Sometimes there's players that ooze so much confidence in that in that sort of grade, and they come up and they're second. Like it's like, they second guess themselves, and it's almost like they're too careful. It's like, I've got my car. If you gave me the newest V8 BMW, I don't know how I'd drive it because I'd be too careful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if there's a bit of that about it where and we've seen it with players in the past where in New South Wales Cup they've got so much confidence and then they step up and they just don't have the volume of confidence that they have in that. Because for me, and here it's his confidence thing. It's not skill. He's got skill. It's the confidence to know he needs what to do and what he needs to do at a certain time.
Well, the coach has got confidence because he keeps picking him.
Yep.
And I said there's not a lot of alternatives. He was talked about as an origin possibility early in his career, like when he first broke into first grade. It's just, you mentioned confidence, and I think that's probably part of it. But the guy, as I said, he's played his best football in the finals. He's done a great job most of the time. He missed the early part of the season. He couldn't break into the side. Then he got a spot on the bench. He was basically coming on as a back rower and doing a decent job. But as I said, the injury to McLean, he's in the centres and he hasn't really been at his best. He's had some good games. He's had patches of games that have been good. But then last week he just kept dropping the ball. It's not something new. I think the week before against the Gold Coast, it was a Tago drop ball, and then they scored. And it's just, you can't have outside backs regularly turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Because tries get scored, and that's what's happened. The only alternative they've got is on the bench is Sione Fanua. I think he's only played one first grade game. That was against the Bulldogs last year when they played their reserve grade team, basically. He's been on the interchange bench a few times, extended bench. Haven't seen him this year. I don't know. I've not seen a lot of him. But, if the coach keeps picking Tago, even though Tago's been out of form, then that's probably telling me that he doesn't have confidence in the next up guy. And I can't tell you how good Fanua is or isn't. Apparently, he had really big raps on him as a young guy. Put on a heap of weight, left the game for a few years, and then he's come back at Penrith. He was a Parramatta junior. I dare say if this is if Tango can't dance well this week, I'd be putting Fanua in there next week if McLean's still injured. But look, it's not a bad looking side, but as I said, I don't know where the points are going to come because they couldn't get the job done against the Gold Coast when they needed points. They just didn't get them.
Yeah.
No Cleary. Cog is a good player, but he's a backup guy. Or if he was playing with Cleary, he plays better. But to lead the team around the park, we saw, he's had a lot of years at the Knights and just never was consistently all that good. He's played his best football at Penrith when he's played with Nathan Cleary. But he's got the job of leading them around. Blaise Talangi, he's got to create things, score tries / create the tries. On the flip side, Cody Walker was great last week. South don't lose too many players. Obviously, there's still no Latrell, but their only Origin player, I think, is Cam Murray. I was hoping they would pick your man, Tallis Duncan, after not just one good performance last week. He's been great. I thought maybe he might have been an outside chance of a bench spot. And dare I say, Laurie, if Ethan Strange, if his ankle's no good, just get Tallis Duncan up there on about a 12 p.m. flight tomorrow, and then he doesn't have to play against Penrith.
Well,
but South, to me, South look stronger.
Probably
more points.
Probably the Alex Johnson out, Dane Jennings in. So you got Dane Jennings, Sigwalt side. Jack Whiten comes back. That's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic goes.
It's going to help the defence.
I think so. The guy who I've been so impressed with recently is Ashton Ward. Just absolute. His kicking game. It's actually made Cody work harder. So Cody's long kicking game has improved because Ashton Ward has just taken over so much of it. Brandon Smith has had some really, really good games. Colin Matungi still got that knee injury. Tallis Duncan has pulled off some of the best try-saving tackles. Last week, he pulled off a cracker. Lockie Hubner's in at lock. I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie Humphries gets elevated to that spot. He has been a revelation when he's come on. Ewan Aiken doing some good things. Matt Duffy as well. Look, I always love to say, we got this. Penrith, the Panthers and Souths go together like toothpaste and orange juice when it comes to winning for South Sydney. The thing for South Sydney, and the way I see it, is that I just think it's about, if Penrith get under Cody Walker's skin early, we're buggered. It's going to be annoying. If South Sydney, what's that?
On that, Shane, without Liam Martin there, I think that's a good thing for Cody Walker.
I agree.
Because he's the sort of guy that
he'll do. The key thing for me is Jai Gray's another game older after injury. I just think, look, I'm going to pick South because of South Sydney. The key person who's going to cause annoyance and hopefully reap a little bit of havoc. You talk about Tallis Duncan in the second row. I actually would. I think everything he's done this year has turned to gold. Tallis Duncan. He's really. His football IQ is very high. The guy, though, that for me is David Fafita. He was absolutely devastating last week. He's getting to that form where he's happy to be on the edge, happy to be on the fringes. And what I like seeing about Fafita is he'll do a bookend hit up. Like it's not. I think in the past when I saw David Fafita, it's almost like, if he's not doing the flashy stuff, he doesn't care. Wayne Bennett has got this guy doing wide runs and then all of a sudden get in the middle and do a hit up. So I think that has definitely improved. Our Worth, Brandon Smith has just got to do the key things that Brandon Smith is doing. He's improving. And I know it's silly to say Brandon Smith is improving. I really think he's a long way from his best still, but he's getting there. I'd love to see South Sydney win this game. I think with the outs of Penrith they should. However, there's just some issues with South Sydney, discipline, holding the ball that still bother me, but if statistics are anything to go by, South will score 30 points tomorrow. That's what they're averaging, and that's what Penrith have to score more to beat them. So, I
don't see the Panthers getting.
That's
30.
True. Yeah, I look. Like I said, mate, the amount of times I've sat there and thought, we might have the Panthers this week, and it just the Panthers smashes. Anyway, it's going to be a good game to watch. I really think you got two teams that are top. You got Penrith, who's going to be minor premiers or thereabouts, and South Sydney, they're top 8 bound. I would say.
I think so.
At Saturday 5:30, we see the St George Illawarra Dragons taking on the West Tigers. You've got gee whiz, when you look at the Jerome Luai and Taylor May are out for the Tigers. Now, what that means is you've got Jock Madden and Adam Dwayne. They're 1/2 and 5'8". Alex Twal is in. You've also got Jock Madden in for the Tigers. For the Dragons, it's more sort of on a extended, nothing really in the first grade lineup scenario for them. It's interesting. Like you look at the Tigers last week, and what they needed. The Jock Madden and Dwayne 1/2 5'8" combination really has to do some work. For me, the key in is Api Coruscant. Api Coruscant being there this week. I know being there outside of Origin is what I'm talking about. I just think that he's the go forward they need. The issue with the West Tigers, I just think they're a bit. I really do think they're lacking some key punch in the forwards, and this is where Alex Seyfarth, Latu Fainu, they really have to step up and punch some holes in the middle. Dragons are going to think of themselves as a really good option in this game. Damien Cook, he'll be keen to do some exploratory work and look around. Cole Flanagan and Daniel Atkinson have got to be really smart. Val Holmes just has to kick goals. Please just kick goals. Don't miss them. And it's going to be up to Clint Gutherson to rove around the back and reap a bit of havoc. Unfortunately, I wish I could go through the Dragons side and talk about more players who I think will be a nuisance factor. Toby Couchman just needs to make meters. Dylan Egan running wide. It's Ryan Couchman. He tries to create stuff in the middle, but it's the centers for the Dragons that really just need to be there. I just think they just don't understand what's required. The Dragons, they don't. You said it very early on. They don't know how to win, which is why I've got the West Tigers winning this one. Griff, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I haven't got the Tigers over the line by
no. It's not easy. It's not an easy game. No.
But you look at the team earlier in the year, Madden and Dewey went really well together when Luai was out for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So they got a bit of a combination. They got Buller there. They've got Corey Sal. Good props in May and Bole. I just think the Tigers have got more to play for, really. This is a game, if they're going to make the finals, they have to win this game. Irrespective of the fact that they're missing some of their better players. They are playing the Dragons, who've recorded 1 victory. I give the Dragons a chance, but I am going to tip the Tigers.
Yeah, the Dragons would think that they're somewhat a hope, I think. Well, on Saturday at 7:35 at Suncorp Stadium, it sees the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. I suppose key outs: Karapani, Jageski, Payne Haas, Karapani and Walsh for the Broncos. Fanua Blake, Blake Bradley and Britton Nikora are out for the Sharks. I don't care. I'm actually at the point where with the Broncos, I don't care who's in and out. They've got absolutely no confidence. Ben Hunt in at fullback, halfback, is going to have to really steer the ship here. Thomas Duffy will need to run at the line. I find him a bit of a catch and pass player when he sometimes is. When the team wants something, he just catches and passes. Just run the line, son. Like, have a crack. Corey Pake's in a hooker that's going to help. That's going to help them in some ways. He's a good driving force there, and he tightens up the middle. But I just look at the Sharks team. They've got some outs, but Will Kennedy, Katoa, Jesse Ramian, Iro, Mulatano, Braden Trindle, Nico Hines. That's their bread and butter. That's the bread and butter, mate. Yeah. Like that's. Yeah. I'm picking the Sharks on that. I don't need to go through the rest.
From 1 to 7, that they would say that's their best possible lineup.
That's it. And then you've got Hazelton, Beryl in Haystacks, Burns, Tig Wilton, and Cameron McInnes as captain. I've got the Sharks winning this one, Griff. I just look at it and just go, I just look at it and go, that back line is just going to be far too strong. Can I also say their bench is not bad either. So I've got the Sharks, Griff.
Well, the Broncos look like a reserve grade team, essentially. They're missing so many guys, mainly injury, and they've got a few in origin. But all of the biggest guns are out of the game. Staggs is there. He's one of the big guns, but no Walsh, no Haas, no Reynolds, and he's not often there, but no Mam. It's just too big a mountain to climb for. They've got a lot of guys there who to me, are not first grade NRL quality. Credit to them, they're out playing in the NRL, and we're sitting here having a chat. But we're just giving an opinion. Maguire came out and was very. He was backing his players. I thought they actually had quite a crack last week, just beaten by a better team in the Roosters, but they weren't beaten by much. But the team they're rolling out this week is would have trouble beating anyone in the NRL.
Yeah.
And that's because they've got so many quality players out. So it's Sharks who they're missing a couple of players in Fanua Blake and also Brayley. But apart from that, they're almost at full strength. Also Nicola from Britain. He's out as well. But Billy Burns and Wilton for most of the year being the starting second rows anyway. So it's a pretty good looking Sharks team. They'll win this game.
Yep. Just writing that down. Good. Well, on 2:00 on Sunday, we have the Parramatta Eels taking on the Manly Warringah Seagulls. Mitchell Moses. Yes, Mitchell Moses is out for the Eels. That sees Jonah Pezzett in. I think many say he's the reason why they picked them to be in the 8. Ola Kawata, Brooks and Kohler are out. That sees Clayton Faiolo in with Joey Walsh, Jamal Fogarty in a 5'8". Ben Trebojevic, Corey Waddell is in on the second row, and their extended bench looks fairly stock standard. But people getting promoted. So yeah, it's interesting when you look at these two teams. You've got a team that's just seems to know how to win and when to win, versus a Parramatta side that's just at times abysmal in defence. Their discipline and their defensive structure don't allow them to win games. That's the key thing with the Eels. The Eels when they want to, can score points, and no one's saying that's not the case. But third tackle drop balls 40 out just gift oppositions field position, and on top of that, their defensive decisions at times can be woeful to abysmal. I really think the only attacking option they have is Mitchell Moses when he's pulling the strings, and even then, he needs everyone else to be in sync, otherwise it doesn't happen. The Seagulls are winning this one. Griff, who have you got?
Yeah, that's it. Manly here. I would disagree a little bit about Moses being their only attacking option.
Mm-hmm.
He's their best, no doubt.
Yeah.
But the Para's attack is a lot better than their defence.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like
yeah.
Yongi, Volkman's been good for them actually this year. Sean Russell, Sam Rani, Brian Kelly's been good in attack. They've got the Fox there. So they can score tries. De Silva's a good attacking hooker. They've got Tuolungi and Katonga in the back row. I've got no doubt they'll score points here. Dylan Walker off the bench. But as you said, their Achilles heel very much is their defence. Manly are going in without a couple of their top guns in Olakau'atu and Kola. They've been their two most dangerous weapons this year. Turbo's still trying to get back to full fitness.
I think Griff, I just want to do a little rebuttal. My point on their attack. They scored 12 against South, 15 against Raiders, which got them the win, 12 against the Dogs, 22 against the Knights in a losing team, 8 against the Storm. I can't see any weapons at the moment firing for them.
Oh, they're not great.
No.
I think their attack is better than their defense.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. They let in a lot more. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Sorry.
Yeah. They can pull a try out long range sometimes as well. Sam Rani's pretty handy with being told.
I wish they'd use him more often. I wish they'd find a way to be able to utilise that guy, because I if he was in another team, he might be a real, like, he might be playing very differently.
Yeah, I think Manly win. Clayton Falolo is a very good player, so he comes back after an injury, which he takes the place of Kola. So they don't lose too much there. You can't replace Olakau'atu with like for like, but I think Corey Waddell's been out for a little bit. I don't know if he played last. It says he's an in, so he's been injured for a bit. He was going all right before he got injured. I just think they'll still win. Joey Walsh really taking the place of Brooks, who unfortunately, did he do an ACL or like season-ending injury?
I heard that they were. Last I heard was scans. I didn't hear the actual extent.
Okay, yeah. Well, Joey Walsh has been waiting patiently. He re-signed, I think, for 3 years. He's the future of this club, and the future is now because of the injury to Brooks. So there was a game earlier in the year where he stumped his class, and I think he might have kicked a winning field goal or something like that. He was also really good against the Panthers. So my main interest, in a particular player in this game is the guy wearing the 6 for Manly, and I think he's going to have a big hand in them winning this game.
Yes. Well, the last game of the round, we have at 4:05 on Sunday, McDonald Jones Stadium, the Newcastle Knights taking on the Redcliffe Dolphins. Newcastle out, Bradman Best, Callum Ponga. you have for the Redcliffe Dolphins, the Hammer, Katoa, Bostock, Plath, Selwyn Cobbo, Thomas Flegler. I was looking at this game and who do you pick? And I suppose this is one of those games you'd love to see both these sides have a full strength team the way they're going at the moment.
Thinking that, Shano.
What's
as
that?
soon as I was thinking those exact things as soon as I saw,
No.
and I was scrolling down the screen and I saw the two, the team logos. And I thought,
what a game! What have we missed out on? What a game this would have been.
The two big improvers for the year, really.
Full tilt. This would have been like at 4:05 on a Sunday. You would have been like, kick the Barbie over. We've finally got a Sunday game that's, unfortunately we don't. It's still going to be a cracking game. I really think that I really think that this is made for the Fletcher Sharps of the world. I think Sandon Smith, Dylan Brown need to really make this happen. Schneider and Nicarima, they're going to pull the team around. When I look at these two sides, regardless if you've got who you've got still there is a man called Herbie Farnworth, who's just in he's in such form. It's just unbelievable the way that guy's playing. Kafusi, Marshall King, Molo. I just look at it and go, how much of the nucleus of this team is out? This was a flip a coin game for me. If they were full strength, I was tipping the Dolphins. When you look at the volume of players out, and it's sizable. Fletcher Sharp at fullback, if he can do what he's capable of, I think that the Newcastle Knights, under the guidance of Justin Holbrook, which is just a different kettle of fish. This was last year going, no. Justin Holbrook has this team, they're playing to a different beat of the drum. I think the Newcastle Knights at home might just get this over the line.
Yeah, I agree. It really these two teams are going to feature, I believe, in the finals. And I've got to give credit to both organisations because
they've been
Knights were
playing.
a shambles. They won the Wooden Spoon last year. A lot of people expected they're going to be bottom four again this year. They paid a lot of money for Dylan Brown, and Holbrook's come in and he's changed the team. Not so much names on the team sheet, but just the way they play, the confidence that they have. And
how is that they're fit? They look a fit rugby league team. Like
they're quick too. They're speed.
You know what? The Newcastle Knights of days gone by, you just like, they're up by 12. You go, yeah, it's fine. 20 to go, they'll conk out. Not this team.
No, this is a game to look forward to, even with the outs. And while the Dolphins' volume, the number of plays they've got out is much higher.
The quality
is also. But for the Knights, you're looking at, one of the best 5 players in the comp in Kalen Ponga and Bradman Best.
Oh, what they mean to this side is just immense. And I think when you look at the volume of players out for the Dolphins, I think the importance of the 2 players of the Knights almost cancels everything out.
Almost. That's the key word. That's why I'm tipping the Knights. Because I just think they've probably got a better side. The other big out, not in the origin, is the injury to Katoa.
Yes.
Even though he was injured reasonably early in the game, last week, they were still able to play really well, and Schneider did a good job. I'm just trying to think who they played, but Katoa went down, but it didn't stop them. Whereas I would have thought his influence might have been felt more, but they just didn't look back. They're a good team, a really good team, and you've got to give credit
What are
to
you talking
the
about against the Warriors?
The Warriors, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat the Warriors.
They played very
without
well.
Their playmaker for most of the game. That's just a great effort.
Yeah.
And yes, the Warriors were missing players as well. That's got to be noted. But these are exciting teams. The Dolphins have never made the 8 in their short history. They've been thereabouts, and they've been in position, and every year they've sort of fallen away at the back end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen this year.
No.
They've got tremendous depth. There was a lot of talk when they first came in, they haven't signed a marquee guy. But they did sign the Hammer. And he wasn't seen as a marquee guy at that stage, but we know that he's just absolute quality.
He is quality.
The next year, second year in the comp, they get Herbie Farnworth, who I rate as the best center in the game.
Yeah.
They can really hurt you, those two guys. And as a supporting cast there, it's pretty good too. Avarillo's been out for quite a while with injury. He's a really good player. He's certainly going to help fill the hole left by some of those players. In this case, he comes in for Jack Bostock. I just think the key out of Katoa and the Hammer and plenty of other good players is going to have a bigger influence than the Knights have got two very good players out, but toss a coin, but I still think Knights at home.
No.
I think we could see these two teams again in September.
Oh, we're going to see them in September. Don't you worry about that.
I'd love to see them up against each other, like at full strength. What a game that'd be.
You know what? There wouldn't be a ticket left. That'd be a sellout in minutes. That's the games for the week, Griffo. Any final thoughts?
No, not really. There's been a bit of player movement. June 30 came and went. I think, actually, the team we just discussed, Oren Keeley, the Newcastle junior who went up to join the Dolphins, he's gone down to the Storm. So that's a decent signing for the Storm. But as we said before, there's plenty of depth in the back row with the Dolphins. Big story out of Penrith earlier in the week that they gave Moses Leota permission to negotiate.
Yep.
And whatever happens there, he will always be one of Penrith's greatest players. He probably slightly under the radar when he was, partnering James Fisher-Harris.
Can I just say about Leota, when I heard it, I thought this, and Penrith rarely make silly moves. I would doubt Moses Leota's on massive. I don't know what money he's on.
What I read was $750.
Okay,
which is decent for a prop. Not market value, but still good money.
I just think that he would be in my starting lineup every day of the week. I have such love for that guy. He is a very, very good player. If I'm a young prop coming through, like remember the Petro effect?
Yep.
I just think he's got the Petro effect. If I'm a club that wants to build something, I would grab him, not so much as a bookend that's going to make me meters, but it's someone who can just grab the young guys and go, "This is what you do." And I was a bit surprised that, unless he's asking for something astronomical, him and his management, I was just a bit surprised by that move, because you know what? He's one of the guys you'd rather have than have not. Unless I'm missing something. I don't know. When I heard it, I went, you know what? His coaching value is worth a mozza. Like, he's a good bookend. He's a good player. He's solid across the field. He's feared. I would have him in my starting lineup most, if any day of the week.
Oh, absolutely.
As he's getting towards the end of his career, what he could show young people is phenomenal.
Well, he's already doing that. That's the thing. Like, he's the senior forward, certainly front rower at their club, and they've got some good young guys coming through.
Mm-hmm.
I think an ideal situation, if he's to leave, is that he signs with the Chiefs and plays on next year.
Yes.
He's into his 30s now, Moses.
Yeah. He's not young.
No, so he certainly wants to set his family up for the rest of their lives. He's still at the top of his game.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Such a good player.
He has been responsible
Such a good player.
And winning so many big games.
I
think there was a game against South, it might have been in the finals.
Yes,
where he
remember
killed
it well.
South.
I remember it well.
Parramatta in the grand final.
There's, when it comes to props, like, people talk about Asatasi and things like that. His name is in that mix, where it's just like, he is when you're a prop and you make the difference, like, like Shrek and Shrek O'Mealy and guys like that. When you're a prop and make the difference, you are like, Glenn Lazarus was really the person who got the ball rolling. I know rugby league in the 50s, 60s and 70s was a lot like that, but in our modern game, like, Lazarus was one of the guys that got that started. You don't have to wear, double digits matter. That's what he used to say. The double digits guy matters, and Leota is such a phenomenal rugby league player. I will forever, whenever anyone talks about rugby league and forwards, he will always be in my conversation, because I just think he's, you can talk about individual games, but the way he builds a foundation for the club too, like, he just, Nathan Cleary wouldn't be able to do half the stuff that he did,
absolutely,
because of this guy. Like, that's, and I just think that's, and Nathan would be the first to admit it. That's why he's a classy human being. I just think that, you know what, if South Sydney threw him money, which I don't think they could do.
Well, they got paid ass coming.
Yeah, they got paid ass coming, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just player. Like, I take my team out of it. If some other team that's sort of having a few struggles could go, you know what, we could give this guy a bit of coin, what he could build, because he's a coach as well. Imagine what he could do for the 15s, 16s, 18s, 19s, 20-year-olds at that club.
I think Perth, they should be the first people on the phone to Leota. And obviously, I'm sure that PNG will also.
Oh, and you'd be silly not to go.
Well, that's it. If he can land a really
I
big
hope he does.
tax-free deal, I hope he does too.
Yeah.
For what he's contributed over a decade or so, he's over 200 games in the front row, and they've pretty much all been quality. Just amazing. Like, as I said, he was sort of played second fiddle in the media to James Fisher-Harris, but they were a package deal. The 1-2 punch that won 4 premierships in a row. And Bill never forgot what they did in laying the platform for, as you said, guys like Nathan Cleary to do their thing. And we know how important go forward is. We saw it in the last game for the New South Wales Blues. Same halfback, go forward.
He's your third tackle man. He was that guy for Penrith. Third tackle would take the ball and run 15, 20 metres. Every time. Without fail.
But he's quick. Like, he scored
he's
like
lightning.
40
He's the
metre
grease
tries.
lightning.
Like,
he's grease lightning. And you know the other thing? He's got one of the highest... And look, people can go online and prove me wrong. I'm happy for them to do that. But I'm pretty sure... I've done my homework, so you can run with it. He has one of the highest post-contact meters of many players. First initial tackle busts and engagements, he's got one of the highest. He will make you 20 meters when you need it. When you need a quick... Yeah. And the other thing with Moses Leo you forget about, he'll run into 3 players, right? And people go, what's that hit up all about? He gets on his knees and his elbows, plays the ball, and he's engaged 3 players out of that play. What happens next? What happens the next run? Liam Martin runs 15, 20 metres. What happens the next one? Isaiah Yeo passes the ball. Well, back in the day, that's how they used to do it. Pass the ball wide to Crichton. It was like watching a Swiss clock work. You could predict it. You just couldn't beat it. It was that good.
Something happened last week, Shane, that I don't think I've seen it before, where from the kickoff, he ran it back and he got pumped. I think it was Nane was the main guy.
Yeah, right.
And thought, okay, that's not great.
Yeah.
But
Nanai's in some form at the moment.
I'm praising the Cowboys. That set the tone for the victory. But Leota, absolutely, like the look on his face,
where'd that come from?
His reaction, like he fired up, and he was very, very good early in that game after the mistake. But credit to the Cowboys. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where he's just got pumped from the kickoff, and he absolutely took it personal, and he more than made up for that error. In his first stint, but see what happens there. The Penrith of 2028 is going to be really interesting to see. Because obviously it'd be different coach. There's a lot of guys there: Martin, To'o, Yo, Cleary, the main ones, but also some of the younger guys like Paul Alamotti, who are on the market from November 1 this year. The reality is they're going to lose players. Question is which ones, and also the question is, are they going to be able to keep the ones that they really want to keep? And obviously Nathan Cleary is at the top of that list. I expect To'o to go. He might not, but I think he'll follow his very good friend Jerome Luai to the Chiefs. I think Moses will end up either, if Perth don't sign him, and they have been granted a slight dispensation with the extra $500,000, of which a maximum of 100,000 can go to 5 players. That's going to be blown out of the water compared to what the Chiefs can offer. So obviously Perth have got to put their hat in the ring for Leota, but I think if the Chiefs want him, they'll get him, and that also gives Leota the chance to play an extra season at Penrith. So that's how I think that one will go. I think Toto will go. I will be surprised if Liam Martin doesn't go as well. All of those guys probably, they're in the latter part of their career. And for a guy like Liam Martin, who has thrown his body on the line, like normal humans don't do, the wear and tear on that man's body from the way he's played the game means I don't think his shelf life in the game is all that long now. I'm not sure if he's 30 yet, but he'd certainly be, if he's not 30, he'd be 29. So it'll be his last contract. Again, I think he's a guy the Chiefs would target. Isaiah Yo's older than all of them. I think he's 31 or 32. Questions about his form recently. He's a champion. He's going to be valued to whoever he plays with. Obviously, I think for the Panthers, he'd be one of their top priorities because of his leadership, along with Nathan Cleary. It's not something I enjoy, knowing that, as it has been, that they're always possibility of losing players. But for each one of them that doesn't sign, it does mean that they've got a larger pool of money, you'd think, to sign the other guys. And like guys like Casey McLean, who's going to obviously need a big upgrade. So
and there's a pool of juniors coming through also.
They're going okay in both. They're either first or second in the flag and in also the New South Wales Cup. So there's obviously some guys there who can play. They didn't smash it in the Harold Matthews and SG Ball, but there's obviously some guys who go okay in some of the teams they've got below first grade at the moment. But it's an interesting jigsaw puzzle that each and every NRL club tries to piece together. When you win comps, your value on the open market goes up, and that's something they've been having to deal with year in, year out.
Yep. That's why that's why he's so successful. And I genuinely think the juniors that are coming through, it'll be very interesting to see. And Wallace, I think, is one of the best assistant coaches rolling around the NRL. Griffo, thank you for being a part of the podcast tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Absolute.
Thanks to you, Shane.
No, anytime. Love doing it. Like I said, this is water cooler. This is therapy. This is everything we need. It's rugby league. It's what we live for. There's massive weekend ahead, and then it's Origin, people. Get your blue on. Love your work. Thanks, Griffo. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, listeners. Talk next week. Bye-bye.